All right, good morning, YouTube folks. Feel free to skip ahead about a minute here. I just started the stream up and posted my notifications, so I'm going to give people just a moment here to get in the chat before I start talking about this deck. And it's special. I'm pretty excited to play this one. This is a for funsies Saturday morning stream. Every once in a while, I get these deck lists from my friends and followers, and it's like, Phil, you need to check this out. And about half the time, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of neat. And the other half of the time, I'm like, oh god, I need to play this. And this list fell into that second camp. So historically, I love Stompy decks. I've played a ton of them in both Legacy and Vintage. And I just love taxation and prison style decks that get to lock my opponent out of the game. It's just the sort of magic that I really personally enjoy. So, like on this channel, I've played a lot of D&T and Red Prison and a little bit of Soldier Stompy as well. And this is Soldier Stompy. Kind of. So let's look at a Soldier Stompy deck list. Like, this is the deck list that I played previously. And one of the engines of normal traditional Soldier Stompy is that you get Enlistment Officer, which is like Goblin Ringleader, but for soldiers. So this helps you to refuel in the late game, and you get Daru Warchief to go and pump them all up, because it gives all your soldiers +1/+2. And that's kind of the normal top end of this deck, is you get a card draw engine and you get a Lord. That's the top end of Soldier Stompy, other than like Palace Jailer. But let's look at what I am going to do today instead. So I got this build someone sent me. The original list was by MTGO user Lagerban, and it featured High Sentinels of Arishan. And I'm going to read this card for you, because I know no one knows what it does. It is a 4-mana 3/4 flyer, and it's Bird Soldier. High Sentinels of Arishan gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. And then it has a 4-mana ability, put a +1/+1 counter on target soldier you control on target creature. So, this is a giant old bird. And you'll notice that the normal top end of this deck is gone, replaced by these, and that there's more down at the lower end. So this deck is seeking to go and ride a +1/+1 counter theme to victory. So here's Council's Lieutenant, a 2/1 with Renown, and Renown means when it deals combat damage to a player, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. And then if it's Renowned, when it attacks, all your other creatures, all attacking creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn. Okay, that's pretty aggressive. That's pretty good. I threw in an Anafenza Kintree Spirit into this deck list. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, bolster 1. And bolster means you choose a creature with lowest power or toughness you control and put a +1/+1 counter on it. Then there's this normal stuff here, and let's look at this one other 4-drop. Citadel Siege. It's a 4-mana enchantment, and I love enchantments right now in the metagame. When it enters the battlefield, you choose Khans or Dragons. Most of the time in this deck, we're going to be choosing the Khans mode. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put two +1/+1 counters on target creature you control. There is a Dragons mode that says at the beginning of combat on each opponent's turn, tap target creature that player controls. So it's possible you could choose Dragons against, some deck like Infect or Delver or Reanimator or something like that. But most of the time, you're just going to choose Khans. Oh, is bolster just toughness? Yeah, you can tell how much limited I've played. So, essentially, what we're trying to do is grow our threats to the point where they're unanswerable. Like, look at all the first strike creatures we have. Thalia, Council's Lieutenant, Preeminent Captain, more other Thalia. We have 7 flyers in addition that are evasive that can take advantage of +1/+1 counters, and Citadel Siege to put them on. This version is also playing the Wombo combo of Preeminent Captain, which lets you poop a soldier from your hand into play attacking, and Captain of the Watch. I'm not really convinced Captain of the Watch is good, but I haven't played it on stream yet, so I figured if we're going to do something kind of silly and crazy today, might as well throw this in here. So for those of you that don't know Captain of the Watch, it's a 3/3 Vigilant for 6 mana. When it enters the battlefield, you get 3 1/1 white soldier creature tokens that are effectively all 2/2s. And then your other soldiers get Vigilance as well. The sideboard is the same side. Sideboard has 13 cards. Hold on. I spelled Armageddon wrong when I submitted the deck list. Oops. These ones are cheaper. I think it'll look a little better. I'm glad I caught that now, because these Armageddons are, like, super good. There we go. So the... I think you misspelled Ravages of War. Really, we should have a 1-1 split of Armageddon and Ravages of War, right? Hey Phil, sorry for yesterday's potential accidents in chat caused by me. Decided to watch your stream with friends when we were super drunk. It was fun AF. But I remember typing something in the chat full caps. I didn't type anything stupid enough for people to remember, right? Please tell me you have no idea what I'm talking about. I mean, Farish, the comment about the ferrets, it was a little weird, but it's not, like, that strange or anything. I'm just messing with it. It was fine. I mean, come on. We've all been there. We know how that goes. All right. So now that we have a full sideboard, I'll talk about the sideboard a little bit. So essentially, for the combo decks, we have 4 Thorn of Amethyst, but we're pretty well geared to beat combo in the main deck with, like, Thalia, other Thalia, Suppression Field, and the Chalice of the Voids that you can't see. So most of our sideboard is for fair stuff. For the control matchups, we get Armageddon and probably still Thorn. For the Delver matchups, we have Holy Light and Selfless Squires. And this card's crazy. Selfless Squire is a 4-mana 1/1 with Flash, but when it enters the battlefield, you essentially get to Fog, and however much damage you would have been dealt, you get that many +1/+1 counters. Sorry, Freach. I could not resist messing with you a little bit there. So Selfless Squire is super good. Chantel Campbell had the tech on that one, and I talked to her a little bit about it. And it was pretty crazy good in one of the other Soldier Stompy leagues I played. I'm also maxing out on, well, not maxing out. I'm running 3 copies of Holy Light because that card has been insane. Admittedly, last time I played a like White Eldrazi deck, and my own Wingmare like stopped me from casting the Holy Light, and it lost me the game. But otherwise, Holy Light has been absolutely stellar. So I'm excited. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I don't have a ton of time today to stream, so I just wanted to do something kind of silly. I've got afternoon plans, and like I'm moving in 2 weeks, something like that. So I figured I should probably just like be a responsible adult for part of today. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to stream some stupid Chalice deck in the morning. Yeah, adulting is lame, but like you gotta do it sometimes. I'm just mostly surprised by how much garbage I am taking out of my house. Like I'm a pretty clean person, like bordering on like really, really clean, but like just being in the same place for 2 or more years means that you just accumulate a bunch of stuff and you don't need it. So every time you go to move, you kind of like purge a whole bunch of stuff. And it's depressing how much stuff I have thrown away in the past week or so as I've started to do my prep for moving. Turn 1, Chalice. Turn 2, Preeminent Captain. That is a keep. We are playing against Dredge. Shit. We're gonna lose this one for losing the die roll. Like, if I had started on Chalice on 0, Chalice on 1, I probably couldn't have lost this. But, this is gonna be disgusting. On the off chance that my opponent takes a natural draw and draws another LED, I kind of want to play this Chalice. But if I do so, I lock myself out of a Chrome Mox later on, which I guess isn't super relevant. So I might as well do this. Yeah. Okay, that was a pretty bad dredge. But because of that, it doesn't matter that much. Yes, either play one more fetch land or one more Cavern of Souls, and you're probably in pretty good shape. Okay, so I have a choice here of whether I want to play Thalia Heretic Athar or OG Thalia. Thalia Heretic Athar is way better against like Icarids and such. What spells can my opponent cast at this point? If they haven't cast anything yet, they're probably not going to. So let's shut down that Icarid train. This is a close decision though, because like my opponent can still Cabal Therapy for just like sacrificing creatures, but they didn't have any bridges yet, so I felt like this was fine. And they didn't hit any more bridges now, so that's great. Yes, basic planes, but I think I can wait a turn on that, right? I might just, like, straight up lose to beats because of, like, Ancient Tomb and these random flyers before anything else. Probably not gonna play this Palace Jailer and let my opponent take the crown there. The thing is that I don't think Lieutenant is going to be aggro enough. Like, if I play the Lieutenant, this turn I attack for the same amount of damage. The following turn, I would attack for 2 or 3 more damage, but that's still not going to, like, put my opponent on a clock that's faster than what they're going to have me on. It's going well. Right, but they get the first attack. Okay, how do I win? So my opponent represents 5 damage. That means I can tap the Ancient Tomb and have a chance. So I think I play Preeminent Captain. No, we've still got an out. Like, depending on how the Preeminent Captain attack goes, and, like, what we get to put in, we might be able to do 11. Right? We could put in Big Derpy Idiot, whatever it's called. Then that'd be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That'd be 13 damage. So I wonder if I had played Preeminent Captain instead of Thalia. Last turn I could have, like, cheated in the Thalia and played Council's Lieutenant, and then had more bodies coming in this turn. So I wonder if I was, like, trying to be too conservative with my life total by not wanting to tap my Ancient Tomb. Because, like, then I just wouldn't have tapped it this turn and my life total would be the same. So I wonder if I messed up. I'd like to see Mengucci do well. Like, he's one of the few, you know, content producers for one of the major websites that is regularly producing legacy content. M. Tesm, thank you very much for your subscription. This is the second month you've supported me, so thank you for that. I really do appreciate your support. Feels sort of like my opponent forgot about the Chalice. The Narcomoeba's just better than the zombie. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can only hit for 9 here. Okay. I may have lost this one to my mistakes. Alright, so we'll want Rest in Peace and Thorns for sure. And Selfless Squire is maybe worth consideration for, like, Alpha Strike reasons. What's bad? What does Suppression Field do? Suppression Field stops Putrid Imp, and that's it? No, I guess it also slows down Cephalid Coliseum. So this is weak, but not unplayable. I'm probably never hardcasting this Captain of the Watch, so maybe that should get cut from the deck. And those are my cuts. Could also see, like, cutting this Anafenza. This isn't a matchup that goes long where this generates just tons and tons and tons of value. But it is aggressive. What about Citadel Siege? Could also see Citadel Siege getting cut. So if I wanted to go 8 for 8, this is my 8 for 8. I just don't know if the Selfless Squire is good enough. Like, I can envision the situations where it is. But is that better than just having something else that's more aggressive and closes out the game proactively? That I don't know. Let's assume it is. Alright, so we go Chromox, Imprint Bird, Cavern of Souls. I can Chalice on 0 to stop LED and then play Thalia. Or I can Chalice on 1 and then follow up with Thalia the next turn. So essentially, I'm keeping this hand either way. I don't have time to do math puzzles while streaming and, like, entertaining my fans. Sorry. But thanks for the riddle. I'm going to Chalice on 1 this turn. That way... This shuts off more cards than the Chalice on 0. The Chalice on 0 line basically stops LED. The Chalice on 1 line will stop an early breakthrough, Faithless Looting, Cabal Therapy, Careful Study if they're playing that. This has sort of more early value. So opponent's hand is potentially kind of weak. Their best play was discard Golgari Thug, which is their worst dredger. Having the Street Wraith there helps quite a bit, though. Ooh-wee! That's a good dredge. So that's 2 high-quality dredgers plus an ancient grudge, which can like get rid of my chalice or my chrome mox. So if opponent had a land in hand that they did not play, they can do some disgusting things in a turn or two. But if they miss on a land and I get to play this Thalia, ooh, they didn't. I did not miss on a land, luckily. I mean, a lot being 2 mana, right? So the flashback cost is 1, and then they just need to play 1 more for the Thalia attacks. Unfortunately, their next land will enter tapped, so they're not actually anywhere close to making that happen. Alright, so no bridges in the graveyard yet. 1 Icarid in there. But Icarid will enter tapped. I do have a good amount of pressure. Yeah, I mean, doubling the cost of my opponent's spells is okay, right? Alright. So no putting the Icarid into play. This is probably just like a Cephalid Coliseum and Prey turn from my opponent. So I'm going to hit them for 7. That puts them to 4. And then Aerial Responder clocks them in 2 turns. They could get a Narcomoeba to block. Oh wow, my opponent has Serenity. That's really good to know about. Alright, I don't care about any of that. Don't really care about any of that. Alright, there's 1 Narcomoeba. It's the only card so far that I've really cared about. But now my opponent can just, like... cast a Cabal Therapy to get a couple of zombies, get that countered die. Is there a Dread Return in there? Don't see a Dread Return in there. Like, they can return Icarids that enter tapped, get a bunch of zombies that enter tapped. And, die? Basic Plains, my thought was that the potential of losing Thalia to some stupid card off the top, like a Firestorm, and needing a backup threat to finish the game was just as good as removing 1 bridge. So thinking about my sideboarding a little more, I wonder if like these Palace Jailers shouldn't be in the deck for post-sideboard games, if that's just like too incredibly risky, because the opponent becoming the Monarch and just like dredging is terrifying. So I wonder if I should just like keep this in as another body, or if on the draw I should play Suppression Field just as another hate piece to interact with the stupid land. Or if I keep these for the Preeminent Captain combo just because it like closes out the game so quickly if it works. Okay, tell me what the bridge does. Tell me what that ensnaring bridge does that is relevant to this game state. Because I think the answer is nothing. Like, in what world does that matter with the hate cards that I have in play? My opponent can only cast one spell due to the mana they have. So I don't know in what way that bridge matters. No, bridge from below. I wonder if I Citadel Siege on the draw so that I can, like, stop Icarids. Because if I'm getting rid of these jailers, I just, like, kind of need to play other stuff. So I'm going to do that. So this hand essentially has a turn 2 Thalia and nothing else. I think this is a very average hand. I can probably do better with a mulligan. Yeah, like this hand is so much better. Do I want that land? So I'm going to go turn 1 Thorn, turn 2 Captain. Turn 3, I can attack with Captain, put in Council's Lieutenant, and cast this if I keep the land. So I'll put that on top. Yeah, I figured that because of the chat delay. I'm used to working with that. Alright, so opponent is starting on a Thug and does not have an LED, so that's fantastic for me. Alright, that's a really good card. Don't know that I can win this one. I'm going to be aggressive, but my opponent is going to be more aggressive, and I have this Ancient Tomb. Rest in Peace off the top would be pretty stellar. There's no fairy because of the negative synergy with suppression field. Fairy costs a whole bunch to activate if you have a suppression field. That was a mistake I made in my original versions of the Soldier Stompy builds. Oh, great. There's an Alesh Norn that's going to come down next turn and be unbeatable. And my opponent has infinite dudes. Basic Plains, I still have the list you sent me. I might give that a whirl at some point. How many bridges are in the graveyard? 1 bridge, 2 bridge, 3 bridges. And these are getting sacrificed at end of turn anyway, so I do just block. Well, that'll do. No, that is not always true. Take lands, for example, where you want graveyard hate, but suppression field is also incredibly important. Do I think people are more inclined to play certain decks when they're on Magic Online compared to paper? Yes. There's a higher percentage of Grixis, Delver, and Check Pile online than on paper. Partially because a lot of the grinders are like practicing their decks for tournaments. Partially because the dual lands are relatively cheap. And partially just kind of due to random psychology elements. There are also some decks that are like considerably cheaper online as compared to paper. And so there's more people playing those. I'm going to pull up my spreadsheet and check my opponent's name. I know I've played against them before. I'm going to be keeping his hand. It's pretty good. The last time I played against them, they were playing Stasis. So, there's that. So we'll see if we get, like, turn 1 root nazed. Feels sort of like my opponent might be playing some sort of white Eldrazi deck if they lead on Brushland. So leading on Thalia here is probably awesome. Oh, nope, it's still that stasis deck. And my opponent has 1 land. Ooh, buddy. So do I just Citadel Siege and go all in on this Thalia? Because that seems sweet. I attack for 5, 7, 9, and then my opponent's dead? No, I guess I should play a Preeminent Captain this turn. Because then I still attack for... So I attack for 7. I can attack for 9 next turn if I play Preeminent Captain this turn, put in second Preeminent Captain and Citadel Siege. So that's just better. There's also Root Maze, so I can't Citadel Siege. So there's that to take into consideration as well. How's it feel, buddy? I actually kind of just want to, like, Suppression Field. So I can attack for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then my opponent will be dead next turn anyway, so I don't need the additional clock of Citadel Siege, so I should just Suppression Field. No, if I don't need to play Citadel Siege, I shouldn't play it. I should just do something that disrupts my opponent and prevents him from doing, like, anything. So if I play Suppression Field, then I can't bounce Thalia, so I just tap like this. Hey Ken, we're currently playing against Stasis. I don't think Stasis is meant to beat our Soldier Stompy thing we got going on here. Okay, Crop Rotation is tech. What the hell is this? Oh, that's the untap land, okay. So this isn't actually a big deal, right? I guess I misplayed by playing out Aerial Responder. I didn't think of that. I just didn't think they would be able to cast the Stasis. No, we're not dead. So my plan is get up to 4 mana, resolve a Citadel Siege, and 1 threat, make the threat big enough to go and just deal 7 damage in one go. I don't think we're dead. I think I'm just going to pass the turn. Like, there's an argument for Chrome Mox Imprint Captain because this is going to enter tapped, so that if I draw a 3-drop threat, I can just play it. But I think time is probably on my side, so I'm just going to pass. My opponent is not getting anywhere fast either. Ah. That is artifacts as well. Am I just dead to this? How can my opponent win? Yeah, I'm gonna get used to clicking the F6 button on my my mouse here. I don't know how they win. Oh, I have fewer cards in library than them, so I'll just deck. Okay, I'm more bored than I care about the additional information. All right, so cast out answers stupid stuff. Thorn's preemptive. Armageddon also would get me out of the lock. If I chalice on 1, they can't root maze, and then I have outs to stasis. This is vigilant, so that's super important. Yeah, like, I guess if I just would have, like, cast an aerial responder instead of putting it in, my opponent just couldn't have beaten me. That's so silly. This is why, like, information is so important. So I think anything that can grow my team stays in the deck to help push the additional points of damage. But I might be wrong. Jailer's one-sided draw. Captain is something I can put in with preeminent... Captain of the Watch is something I can put in with preeminent Captain to just do disgusting things. Suppression Field stops fetch lands. That's still fine. Maybe I'm supposed to junk these. Maybe I'm overboarding. Maybe this is ambitious. Maybe I need to trim. This is down to 20 creatures. I don't like that. But I don't think I have time to figure out anything better. Alright, so this is land, Chrome Mox, and Armageddon. Play Chalice on 1, turn 2 Thorn, turn 3 probably Preeminent Captain. So this is a keep. That's very good. That was quick. Apparently Chalice on 1 is really good. This hand does nothing. This hand goes turn 1 Thalia Heretic Cathar or turn 1 Preeminent Captain. I guess that's fine. I don't want to see a Root Maze on turn 1. That's fine. What do they even needle? I have no... Ah! They don't know what I'm doing. So I'm going to value Disruption over the potential to, like, do crazy things with Preeminent Captain. Because it was my Disruption that won me my previous match, or my previous game, like, very handily. And it probably could have gotten me the first one if I had played better. Oh wow, opponent has 1 land. Well, that makes sense why they Pithing Needle Wasteland. Yeah, the double Thalia board here seems pretty nutty. Like we're gonna have so much time. This just feels disgusting. Like, now my opponent has to pay 2 in order to crack their fetch land, and they don't even have that mana. Yep, alright, and that's it. The stasis giveth, and the stasis taketh away. My opponent has played lands and Grixis Delver. So, if I keep this, I need my opponent to not have a counterspell, or a wasteland, or a piece of spot removal. Well, I guess the wasteland's beatable. This would be a hand where I'd probably go like, turn 2 Preeminent Captain, put in Palace Jailer and pray. What is this hand good against? I guess it's good against combo because it's like very aggressive and it can close out the games quickly. Like, my mana's just so awkward though. But if the Preeminent Captain plan works, like, my god, I just win. Like, I get to put in Council's Lieutenant, and then it gets Renowned, and then the next turn I attack, and I put in stuff with, I put in, like, Birdman with Preeminent Captain. Basic Plains, I believe this is a mulligan. But I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it for science. Damn it, Phil! Yeah, I agree. This hand was a mulligan, but I'm just... There is a risk-reward ratio here that is intriguing enough for me to want to keep this hand. Like, say this is Storm, and I just go, like, Preeminent Captain into Lieutenant. I hit for 4 on the first turn. I stack these triggers so Preeminent Captain's resolves first. So then I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have my opponent on a 3-turn clock. A hand that goldfishes on turn 4 is probably fine. We'll see if I get punished for not playing the suppression field, but again, my game plan here revolves around this card working. Please just play all those LEDs and pass. Alright, that Bloodstained Mire was irrelevant. The suppression field does not matter here. This will just be an ad nauseam for their deck. That's okay. I really like this matchup with this deck, so I'm not too worried. I feel like I can probably reasonably take both games 2 and 3. might already be dead. Certainly dead now. Dark Writ. Cabal Writ. At storm count 8, my opponent can just, like, Dark Petition, get Tendrils, kill me. I'm going to concede if my opponent Cabal Therapies me, which is why I stopped F6ing. I don't want them to see all the random shit in my hand. Okay. Thorns and Rest in Peace in for sure. Holy Light's a consideration for goblins. Citadel Siege is too slow to matter here. I probably don't need the additional cards of Palace Jailer. I probably just want to, like, get my opponent dead. So something like this is probably appropriate. There is an argument for keeping Captain of the Watch just because, like, if you put it in with Preeminent Captain, it's just disgusting. Okay, yeah, and Anafen's is probably worse than some of this other stuff. Yeah, what if I, like, only play 2 Holy Lights and I do this? I might play the 3rd Holy Light when I'm on the draw. Alright, so what do I do? I can Chrome Mox Imprint Responder, play a Plains, play Suppression Field on turn 1, then play Thalia on turn 2, or vice versa. I guess it's better to play Thalia on 1 and then Suppression Field on 2. Maybe that's not true. Either way, I have 2 hate pieces, so I'm going to keep this. It's probably better to play Suppression Field on 1 so my opponent can't fetch at all. Yeah, like we're so close to both of these. So close. Alright, so I'm going to lead on Suppression Field, and I'm going to hope that my opponent doesn't go, like, Gitaxian Probe, Swamp, Therapy me. They did not. Jeez, Suppression Field was so the right call. And again, I favor being more disruptive over being more aggressive. If my opponent never gets a real land in play, I just can't lose. They can't even Lotus Petal right now because of the Thalia. This is gross. Yep. So I think on the draw, I'll bring in the other Holy Light. And cut one Captain of the Watch. Honestly, maybe I'm being too ambitious with the Captain of the Watch. Maybe that should just be another bird. I haven't gotten this bird into play yet. I'm so sad about that. Like, that's the whole reason I'm streaming this deck this morning. Is just, like, do this whole bird thing. Ant tends to bring in empty for post-sideboard games against these sorts of decks. So I'll Chrome Mox, Imprint Captain, play probably Chalice on 0, and either Rest in Peace or Suppression Field. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. What do I even do? This is the first thing. I guess I should probably keep a win condition. Thorn is like the best card to play against Storm specifically, but if I go and play my Thorn, then I can't play the Rest in Peace as follow-up. So my goal is to just, like, diversify my threats, and if I play the Thorn, I get super blown out by something like a Hurkyl's Recall. So that's why I didn't just do that. Suppression Field and Rest in Peace are about equally hateful in terms of their ability to muck with what my opponent is doing. And Suppression Field gains more value from being out early. And Rest in Peace gets a little bit better as the rest of the game goes on. So that's why I sequenced the way that I did. Lol. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and just throw one of these out here. And a Hurkyl's would suck, but that's okay. Because, like, my opponent could Hurkyl's me, but then, like, I'd just vomit the rest of my stuff anyway. Perfecto. Again, don't really need a clock in play yet. I can just focus on diversifying my hate that I have and making it very hard for my opponent to win. Although I will probably play the Preeminent Captain next turn over the second Thorn. Well, that's just better than a Captain. This does temporarily stop me from casting the second Thorn, but I think I have enough hate. Yeah, sure. Echoing truth. You return that thorn. I still have 4 hate pieces left in play. Opponent is fighting the good fight though. They're trying. I can't imagine the look on my opponent's face right now. It's disgusting. And this is why I was not sad after losing game 1, right? Like, I just have so much hate for this matchup. It's absurd. Opponent confirmed has thrown keyboard out window. Yeah. Like, what are you supposed to do there? Like, as the Storm player? Like, you kind of have to win turn 1, or, like, God knows what you have to answer. And they're different types of cards, right? So, like, I have artifacts, I have enchantments, and I have creatures that are all disruptive and attack from different angles. So if they keep something like, you know, say a Dread of Night, and I just lead on like, oh, Chalice, rest in peace. Ouch. If they keep something like Echoing Truth or Abrupt Decay, that is a more generic answer. They can just be like priced out of that by the hate cards that I play. So it's a difficult line to walk. I don't know how I feel about this one. Chat, tell me your feelings on this hand. So I can turn 2 Chalice, turn 3 Thalia, and then I have the 6-drop in my hand that I'm probably not going to do anything with. Is this a good enough hand to keep? I think I can do better. Like, if this gets dazed, like, what am I doing with my life? Okay. So this one, I go Chrome Mox, Imprint, Big Idiot, City, turn 1 Thalia, and then hope to draw a land so that I can do one of these 2 things. Well, I guess it's this thing specifically. I'm going to keep and hope my opponent's playing combo. Yeah, I mean, my first hand was probably, like, absolute C, right? It's just so average, like... I am on the wrong side of this equation here. I mean, I guess the good news is that the 7-card hand would be pretty bad against D&T, too. We're 1 wasteland away from dead. Main deck Aethersworn Canonist. Why? I've just never loved main deck Aethersworn Canonist. I've tried it so many times, and it always comes back out of the deck. Everyone who runs the Canonist in the main deck seems to like it. Why would you get Stoneforge there? Like, I would 100% just get, like, a Revoker, revoke this Chrome Mox, and then, like, port me out of this game forever. And just, like, Mom Protect, bash, 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 bash for 10 turns. Well, that sucks. So this Jitte is going to get online. I do wonder if there's a world where my opponent removes my Thalia this turn, I draw land, I cast Citadel Siege, and I race Jitte with Birdman. What? I figured with the line that they took, they were going to try to just, like, wipe me out ASAP with the Jitte thing. I'm kind of surprised. Not that I'm saying that's wrong, I'm just, like, with my opponent choosing to fetch Stoneforge over anything else, that seems to indicate... Okay, that makes sense then. I'm going to block so that, assuming my opponent wastelands me, so that if I draw a soul land, I can cast Citadel Siege and get this out of Jitte counter range. Yeah, that needed to be a soul land. Now I am dead. Dead because of the port locking down my mana more so than anything else. Do you think I bring in Holy Light here? Is Holy Light good? These are cards I'm considering. Armageddon may be too ambitious. Maybe I keep my chalices since I'm on the play. I'm not really geared to beat D&T. This is not one of the matchups I'm trying to attack. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to do here. We almost kind of wiggled through that one. It was probably closer than it should have been. I think if my opponent would have, like, attacked my mana more aggressively, like, immediately wasteland me, like, fetch Revoker instead of the Stoneforge, I just don't think I would have had any draws to get back in the game. Maybe they had the Batterskull in their hand earlier in the game, and that's something that influenced their decision tree. Or maybe they're just, like, not familiar with my deck. Alright. So, turn 1. This hand's awkward. I'm going to keep it because Suppression Field is, like, crazy, crazy good against D&T. But if I turn 1 Preeminent Captain, I do have to imprint this Council's Lieutenant. Which isn't the best. But I don't have white for Council's Lieutenant unless I imprint one of the other cards instead. I could turn 1 imprint Captain, play Lieutenant. It'll get Renowned, and then just treat it as, like, this 4-power attacker every turn. Interesting. Oh no, this is other attacking creatures. Alright. Well, I'm going to keep this. It's not great. We want a little help off the top here. How about we draw one of them 6-mana bad boys? I would also accept a bird. Opponent playing a 2-drop critter into me drawing Palace Jailer would be nice. And this is about the point where I would regret not having Enlistment Officer in the deck. Right about here, because that would be such an amazing top deck to refuel. And I'm 100% okay with just ramming this out on the extra board and starting to draw my cards now. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I am okay with abusing my life total here to not sacrifice this land. I think. Actually, maybe the mana doesn't matter. And the life does. It's 2 more damage. I don't care about the 2 more damage. So my opponent can pay 2 mana, tap Ether Vial, put in a creature, equip it with Jitte. But it's not even clear that that would be fast enough. You have a Palace Jailer. You get to become the Monarch. Oh, man. Oh, opponent, you don't know what you just did. You don't realize what you just did. Oh my god. This is so good for me. Holy crap. So I get my guy back. I become the Monarch again. I get 3 more soldier tokens. That was pretty amusing. Alright. Captain of the Watch, you did a thing today. Good job. Now if we can just get, like, the whole Birdman thing to work that I built this deck around, that'd be cool. Maybe I should get rid of, like, 2 Chalices on the draw and play my Armageddons. It's just so bad if they have Vial and I don't have Suppression Field. My opponent's changing something about their sideboarding, potentially. I wonder what it would be. Turn 1, Suppression Field. Turn 2, Suppression Field. Keep. Just start on Vial. Start on Vial. Aww. Assuming that my opponent will draw Caracas at some point this game, I'm going to go ahead and imprint Thalia Heretic Cathar. And I'm going to take this opportunity to play a Chalice. Since I'm threat light, I want to make sure that a Swords to Plowshares or Path to Exile isn't going to stop everything that I have going on. Interesting. I don't think Disenchant is a great card in D&T. I don't fault anyone for playing it. I just don't think it's the best use of your sideboard cards. I'm gonna say no to that. I want this aerial responder, and suppression field's super important. I'm also super rewarded by drawing a land. I value stopping something like Jete coming down very highly, or like me getting ported or something like that. So that's why I played this over just like getting the responder in play. A second Flicker Wisp would be punishing, but otherwise I don't mind too much. Kind of unsure what's in my opponent's hand. Like, I don't know that they had, like, literal 4 blanks in their hand on their turn. They might have, like, some number of 1-drops that I've shut off, or some number of cards that just, like, do nothing with suppression field around. Sure. The Chalice got a vote. Okay. So I'll take into consideration in making my plays that my opponent might have more removal spells in hand. Selfless Squire is going to be amazing in another turn or two. I don't have 4 mana yet, though, unfortunately. But this is going to stop that Rashadan Port from just, like, keeping me off of mana sources. I like that attack. Classic. Well, this cast out is okay on this board. I can't effectively cycle it because of suppression field, so I just hold this. And then If I draw a land and they try to port me again in upkeep, I can get rid of something. This is just a worse play than Revoker in every capacity except for Clock. This puts me dead in one shot, but if my opponent would have gotten Revoker, I wouldn't get a chance to put something else under here. So now they're giving me the chance to cast a 4-drop. And the Selfless Squire can potentially get a huge blowout and give me a chance to get back into this. So we'll see if I draw the land and I can make it happen. I am. God, I hope I rip the second Selfless Squire. I guess that won't do it. But this sends a message. Opponent will probably just have Swords to Plowshares to Mise me. Unfortunate. So close. Alright, so we're 2-2. We'll see if we can break even. I'm going to refill my water bottle real quick, and then we'll go into the last round. Alright. Hello, my name's Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University. Today we're streaming with something a little bit unusual. We're streaming with Soldier Stompy featuring Birdman, High Sentinels of Arashin, which gets +1/+1 for each other creature I control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Unfortunately, we've never gotten it to do its thing so far this stream. Alright, check my own personal data here. Yeah, I knew I played against this player. Grixis Control. Against a control deck, I will absolutely keep a turn 1 Suppression Field, turn 2 Thalia hand. We're lead on a Chrome box here. That way if my opponent dazes this, that I get awesome value. Opponent knows to fetch in response to suppression field. That's good. Oh. Not getting this one for free. Ooh, but opponent doesn't have any more lands. And this Thalia is uncounterable. Unfortunately, if my opponent has like a 1-mana removal spell for Thalia, my hand does nothing else, so that's not great. Little late there, buddy. My hand is garbage. Very glad I played out. Oh man, am I just getting anglered already? I was about to say, very glad I played Plains over Caracas for Wasteland reasons. That was something intentionally done. Not liking how this one is playing out. Never mind. This is fine. Now, if my opponent has a removal spell for this Palace Jailer, I will just lose the crown and lose the game. But if they don't have a removal spell this turn, I probably just win. And it has to be something that gets rid of it on black mana, unless they, like, Wasteland. Never mind. I was about to say, like, unless they Wasteland themselves, but... That's so disappointing. We are so close. We're so close to turning this one around. And now that my opponent has the crown, I probably just can't win. But I'll try. Oh god, do you have another removal spell? Please don't. We'll try again next game. And my opponent didn't have True Name. I could exile Gurmag, attack with Preeminent Captain and Aerial Responder, get the crown back, gain 2 life, go up to 9, and like I potentially could have turned this game around again. Damn. So if I attack with Preeminent Captain, I can put in Jailer, exile Angler, play Aerial Responder. I guess there's no harm in trying. And the reason why I put in the Jailer instead of the Responder is so that I could play this post-combat and give it Vigilance so that the Delver can't attack. Well, I guess I should say can't attack successfully. I'll just like die to a bolt or a push if they can get Revolt. Or probably just their board over 2 turns, honestly. What if I draw Citadel Siege? Is that good enough? Like Citadel Siege, put 2 counters on Responder. I'd take like 5 this turn. Gain 4 back. Take another 5. Citadel Siege maybe gets there. I don't want to, like, spend the brain power to figure that out. I'll just, like, jam it, and if it works, it works. But my opponent, like, has got to have something that interacts with me, in which case I'm dead. All right. So Squire's in, Rips in, Holy Light's in, Thorn's worth considering. What's bad? This thing is probably never happening. Well, okay, so I guess they are the... When I played my opponent last time, they were Grixis control deck. It looks like they're Delver this time. If they're control, I kind of want the captains, but otherwise I don't. And Offense is probably weak. High Sentinels is a 3/4, right? So that just beats a Delver. To some degree, Council's Lieutenant, I guess, is likely to get stalled. And then I can, like, trim on a Palace Jailer. Oh, okay, yeah, like, I'm aware that they resolved a Delver. When I said that, I mean, like, traditional Delver. Like, last time my opponent was playing, like, Grixis control with Pyromancers and Gurmag Anglers and more interaction towards the higher end of the curve. So if that sort of thing stays true again, they might be playing a Delver deck that is a little bit bigger than normal. This is kind of a disappointing 6-card hand, but I'm going to keep it. For long-term value, I'm going to lead on Suppression Field. If this resolves, it's there forever. Force pitching Delver. So my opponent probably doesn't have another blue card if they opted not to play Delver on their turn. So that's good information for me to have. They also probably don't have a Daze. If my opponent doesn't have Force or Daze, just jamming Jailer here is the nuts. Because then next turn I can go, like, Jailer, or sorry, I can go Responder and Thalia to back it up. So I'm going to go for that. So if opponent has a True Name Nemesis, they can force a fight over the crown, but that's probably a fight that I'm geared to win. Lightning Bolt target Palace Jailer. Deal. I do not care about that. And now that means Aerial Responder also resolves. Haha. Looking good. I kind of just want to, like, pre-combat, jam another Jailer, try to exile the Pyromancer, and then see how safe attacks in with multiple creatures are. Easy. This is a mulligan despite having one of our best cards in the matchup. This is going to be a keep. I don't have a threat, but that's fine. I have a lot of hate. I'll bottom that and look for a threat. Chrome Mox was pretty much the worst draw in my deck at this stage, because I don't have anything that I want to imprint at all. I don't love tapping this too. Hoping to dodge Wasteland, mostly. What does my opponent have? There's no counter magic for any of this stuff. There's no, like, Delver or True Name being played out. I'm just, like, legitimately confused about what my opponent could have in hand. Okay, do I want to attack? My opponent has me on a 10-turn clock. I have them on a 6-turn clock, so I guess I do want to attack. The awkward thing is that, like, every other time my opponent hits me, it decreases the number of times I can tap this Ancient Tomb by 1. And if I just sit back, I give my opponent more time to draw towards another threat. But my cards are kind of better than their cards at this stage. Like, Chalice is off. Like, Chalice is probably shutting off a good portion of their hand. Whatever. I'm going in. I'm going to respect my own life total here and try not to tap this Ancient Tomb anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and do this play, even though it's a little weird on the surface. Because if I don't do that, then, like, I can just, like, take 2, play Preeminent Captain, put the second Preeminent Captain in, attacking on the next turn. But this is probably better for me long term, especially if my opponent gets another threat. Too much thinking, just turn things sideways, figure it out. Yeah, that's fair. A good portion of my opponent's hand is probably unlocked now. But their hand might be still pretty hindered by Rest in Peace. And, like, even assuming they answer Preeminent Captain, the 4-turn clock of the High Sentinels on its own is probably rough. And I can turn that into 3 if I tap this Ancient Tomb to put a +1/+1 counter on it. Okay, so if I attack with both of these and put a counter on Preeminent Captain, then I do 7 this turn, and they're dead to either creature on the following turn. That's probably really good. I'll basically only die to, like, double bolt. Put a +1/+1 counter on this. Paying 4. And this means I push 1 more extra damage. The Taxing Probe doesn't seem like a very good card at this point. That means you're just dead to High Sentinels. That means you're very dead to High Sentinels. So I guess my opponent is intending on chump blocking with the Delver and trying to build a big enough army to get through. I guess that's reasonable. Well, like, if my opponent had double bolt and I just, like, held back the Sentinels, they would double bolt the Sentinels and then just attack in for 4 and then just keep attacking in and I probably just die. So, probably not. Okay. So, that game, finally, we got the High Sentinels to do something. It was pretty good. So, High Sentinels beats a Delver, and I guess it can get, like, super, super big quickly. I only had one other creature there, but, like, even just making it a 4/5 and growing my other thing to a 3/3 was pretty good. But generally speaking, like, these cards, I think, did nothing except go under Chrome Mox. Citadel Siege, conceptually, I liked, but, like, it never did its thing. And these didn't do anything until the last match, and these only did things once. So I'm just not convinced that these 8 cards are better than Daru Warchief and Enlistment Officer, generally speaking. Or I guess these 11, sorry. Like, I feel like all of these were just absolutely replaceable. This side of the deck felt great, but I don't think this is any better than what I was doing here, where in the slots I had, like, Enlistment Officers and War Chiefs and maybe Fairground Wardens. Yeah, I don't know that this deck list is really any good. I do like that I dropped most of the City of Traders out of the deck list and just played more planes. I felt like that was pretty good. So if I go and I play something like this again, I'd probably like drop one more city and play one more planes. That was kind of the best part of this deck list, was just like the stability. I didn't need more power. Like, I didn't need that extra boost of mana most of the time. I just needed stability. Because once you get to 3, you're pretty good with playing out most of your stuff. And once you get to 4, you're 100% good. You don't really ever expect to cast this in the early game. I do think there's something here with this Soldier Stompy archetype. I just don't know if all the cards have been printed for it yet. Like, I feel like it's so close, but it just really wants more stuff like the Thalias, right? It just wants more stuff like that to jam early on. And what that probably means is it's just not better than playing something like this White Eldrazi deck, where you get like Thalia, Wingmare, and then even more hate right up here. It's possible that like I could try to like shove Suppression Field into this deck list and end up with something about the same power as Soldier Stompy overall. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed my morning stream. I'm going to go ahead and get some lunch and then start doing some packing and other things that I need to do for real life. But I hope you enjoyed. If you love what I'm doing, feel free to follow. And if you really support what I'm doing, subscribe and help me continue doing what I'm doing. Thanks, folks. Have a good day.